I'm Mackenzie P. I'm the founder and director of Art Shack.
And I'm Madeline Donahue, Brooklyn-based ceramic artist, painter, and first resident at Art Shack.
So your residency was cut short here because of COVID. You were our first artist in residence. And what happened after that for you?
So after the residency was cut short, we went up to Connecticut and stayed with my in-laws who had a kiln. I ended up buying a larger kiln and I kept making work there with the show in mind here, so that once COVID was over, I would be ready for my show. A year later, here we are. I ended up making more work than I would have been able to make in the period of residency.
It's been so amazing seeing like the work kind of get bigger, or the show get bigger as you go. And I know you just added those cherry blossoms like last week that are in the window, and then the moons have kind of doubled or tripled in size since the opening day. The moons are one of my favorite. They remind me of last year when we went into lockdown, and just I know that you were looking at the moon on your way home from the studio, you said, and you were making this daily ritual out of making the moon phases every day.
Yeah, the moon phase is such a great graphic on its own, and I've never actually created a series of moon phases. So I thought it would be a really nice way to fill the space and also engage with the community on a larger level. And then as COVID started, I realized that really marking this entire COVID season or seasons is kind of a poetic way to explore what's going on right now. It ends up being a bit of a journal. I can remember specific days that maybe I sat on the lawn in Connecticut with my daughter at sunset and drew the moon. Everybody was experiencing the same moon throughout the world, and I just felt comforted by it, by its beauty, by its consistency, by its effect on our bodies.
Yeah.
So the moon will, these faces will just continue to grow. I'm going to keep making them until COVID's over. And then also just, I think for any other special moments in my life, and also any shows I have in the future, I want to make a moon phase for them.
Yeah, it is really interesting because your work is very personal, a lot of it, and then the moon is, like you said, something that everyone experiences, so it kind of takes it out of your daily life and brings it into this thing that everyone can experience.
Right. Yeah.
Which I love. I love the contrast between the two.
Yeah, and this show and this space has actually given me an opportunity to explore more installation work, or using clay to create installations that can be more engaging as like an environment instead of as one piece. Because normally I'm making one piece to be seen at one moment, or to be held and to be seen in the round. But this having access to the space has just been an amazing experience, and I've been able to think about making work in a completely new way. Also, to be making work as you see it in the space is really unique for any ceramic artist, because normally you're working in a confined space without really being able to see what it's going to look like on the walls or on a shelf or wherever it's going to be seen.
Yeah, that part has been really amazing for me, and I know for everyone at Art Shack to see you in the studio, and you brought your kids here. You bring your kids a lot. Sometimes we set up both of our daughters like on the floor of the gallery with clay, and they are making different things out of clay. And that's been really amazing to see and very inspiring to me to see you just incorporate your kids and bring your kids with you, and it's kind of like one of your sculptures in action. Right? So we have had a lot of school groups come in to see the work, and I know you knew about that before that was going to happen. Did you do anything differently about with your work, or did you edit anything out because you knew that kids were going to be seeing the work?
Right. So as I planned the show, I trusted you because you'd chosen my work. So I trusted that you'd be putting my work into the right context, in the right environment. But I also didn't want the work to just be figurative. I wanted it to have a greater, to build like a bouquet of a show instead of just having like one element. So I did think of the community as I was putting the show together, but I didn't censor myself. I still included the pieces that I thought were me, and then also really used this experience to think outside of my work and think of how I could build something that could work in such a large space, but also with a community of people who have different perspectives. Yeah, working in the space, greeting people as they came into the gallery, just things I didn't expect from the show, and also things that I wouldn't have gotten out of the show if we'd done it mid-COVID and I couldn't have been here. So I'm glad that we were patient and we waited.
It's really a show that you want to come in and look at and like be a part of. So I'm also glad that we waited and didn't rush things and didn't have it be just something that you viewed from outside.
Right. Right. And this year I've noticed that spring hit a lot harder than I remember it last year, and I think it was just so important. Seeing the beauty of spring has been more important to people than maybe it normally is. And when I planned the daffodils in the window, I had no idea how responsive people would be to them. And that's definitely been something that's been uplifting for me, made me really feel good about the work. I've loved seeing, especially on a rainy day, when people have colorful umbrellas and they stop and look and they're huddled under their umbrella, just all the color together is really incredible. So it's been the windows especially have been really fun to play with.
So you've generously offered to host a community day this Saturday. Community days are free for the community. Anyone who wants to come in can come in and work with clay for free. And usually we have an artist host them. So yours is Saturday, and what are you going to do?
I'm going to make slab vessels, so slab vases, cups, bowls. And the way you can see back here, the way I make them is I roll out a slab and draw or build on top of the slab and then create the vessel. And I'm going to demonstrate how to do that for the community. And we've been doing it a little bit with the children's classes. Some of the teachers have been teaching the children how to make different objects with that method, and it's been really incredible to see what the kids come up with. Really inspiring. The different thicknesses of the clay and the drawings and the reliefs that are built on top of it are just so creative, and definitely something I'm going to take away as inspiration for my own practice.